already know what time it is. It's your boy DJ Richie Skye back with some tea, interviews, recaps, and more. And be sure to check the links in the description of this video for trips, for books, one-on-one sessions, and more. Now let's get into the tea. Baby, let me tell you something. If you thought that the Grand Dame was not going to be at the reunion for Potomac, baby, we all had another thing coming. And so when Andy said, I don't know if it was Andy or Wendy said it during the press, that Karen's presence was going to be felt at the reunion, they were not lying. They were not lying, okay? There were no lies told. In fact, there were 4 versions of the Grand Dame in attendance at that reunion last night. And I don't know if Bravo is simply just diabolical or what, but baby, let me tell you something. Every version of Karen was very different from the last, okay? Every version was a very different version than the last, okay? And just so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about here, okay? Here are just 3 of the versions right here, all right? Now, as I watched it last night, I'm going to give you guys my opinion, and I watched it again this morning, and I had a slightly different opinion. I'm going to give you my first opinion. My first opinion was there are 3 different women here. There are 3 completely different women here, okay? 3 completely different women. The woman that you see all the way to, it was every hue up. This right here is the comment that, baby, let me tell you, it was so many different shades. And I want to keep this comment here because I want to talk about, I'm gonna bring this home. I'm gonna circle the block. I'm gonna spin the block, as the people say. I don't really know what that means, but I'm gonna spin it and then I'm gonna bring it back, okay? The woman on the left is the woman who was at the scene of an accident. As we will hear her say, okay? She says accident. She makes sure to say there was the one car accident, okay? This is the woman that we have seen the video footage of that was very embarrassing. I'm sure it was a very low moment for her. It was very sad to watch. Every time, I'm not going to lie to you guys, every time when I hear in that video she says I'm lit, I do crack up like a little bit. And I don't know why. I think it's just hearing her say I'm lit. Like, just like that realization hitting her is like a smack in the face. And it's not funny, because it's not funny by any means, but I'm just giving you guys my human response. So then you have the woman who appeared at the beginning of the video last night, okay? At the beginning of the episode. They caught her, 12 to 6 hours after the verdict. Cameras are at her house. Cameras are at her house the day she receives the verdict. This is a woman that is coming back to the show. This is a woman that is coming back to this show. If I had my doubts, my doubts were they were washed away, okay? Like the Lord will wash away your sins, okay? Those doubts were washed away, cast away. I'll fly away. Oh, They gone. They gone. That girl coming back to the show. Okay. That girl is if you got cameras coming to your house the day after you done found yourself guilty of something that you have denied all season, girl, you is in it to win it. Okay. I ain't mad because the mortgage and the rent is always due. The car note due. The phone bill due. The insurance is due. I got to get me some new insurance because Progressive playing around. So everything, the bills are due. So and recovery rehab centers ain't cheap. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that now. They ain't cheap. We having some real conversation today. So I don't have the bandwidth to be politically correct today. We're gonna give it to you real and raw and direct. This is a woman that's coming back to the show, in my opinion. Okay, if you got cameras at your house the day after you done found out you done been found guilty and the video didn't or whatever's going on, girl, you on your way. You are on your way back next season. Lawyer fees due. Lawyer fees due. Okay. So I said, listen, I don't even think she's gonna take a season off unless there is some severe time served. Then I feel like based on what they do based on what the way this reunion looking, I had my doubts about what they could do without her, but I don't have no more doubts. They done made me into a believer with this group right here. I'm gonna get into that in a minute though. Okay, so then let's talk about the third woman. Okay, the third woman is the woman in the middle. That's the woman I barely recognized. I did not recognize who that woman was when I looked at the confession, when I looked at her sitting in her home. I mean, this is a beautiful woman. But I said, what in the new case is going on? Karen looked so, this is not a knock on her looks. This is not a knock on plastic surgery. This is not, I don't know what she got. Okay. I don't know if she did anything. It could just be makeup. It could be fillers. It could be none of the above. I am simply telling you what my untrained eye is looking at. Okay. My untrained eye is looking at three very different women at three different, but I'm gonna come, like I said, I'm gonna spin the block and I'm gonna bring it back. Wait for it. The woman in the middle is also a woman that I believe is coming back to the show. Okay, I ain't gonna even hold y'all. This was I love Karen, but this was some Joan Collins dynasty level, ultimate housewife, diabolicalness that I saw from this woman in the middle. This woman in the middle is shady AF. Okay, she is shady AF. Baby, let me tell you something. She popped up on that screen, sitting there. Baby, okay, Shamar, thank you for that super chat. The woman in the middle, this is Karen. Okay, this is the show Karen. This is the show Karen. This is the show woman here. Okay, this is the show woman. This is the woman who, when the chips are down, Karen can and Karen can pull this woman out and say, this is her. This is Sasha Fierce. That's who this is. This woman is Sasha Fierce. Okay. I'm sorry, Beyonce, but this is Sasha Fierce right here. The woman in the middle. Yep, the woman in the middle. So the woman in the middle is who is coming back next season. Okay. Or whenever she come back. This woman sat up there. And again, you know, she tells us that she's in the recovery because the woman on the right did not give us anything. She was upset, and she was upset, obviously, for her family, which is understandable. But she was also very kind of I'm still looking for some level of like remorse. She gave me emotion, but I just didn't get the remorse that I thought I was going to get from that woman. But the woman in the middle, baby, she says that she is going to seek treatment for taking antidepressants and drinking. Now, that to me does sound a bit more realistic as to what probably happened. I cannot say for certain. I do not know. All I know is what she said. So I'm just going by what the woman in the middle said. Okay. I'm going by what Sasha Fierce said to me. So when then she, as I'm trying to digest her slightly, let's call it an elevated, enhanced look, if you will, because Karen is always going to look snatched when she got to do something. Okay. And I don't want nobody to take this as a knock on Karen. This is an observation. Okay. These are my realistic observations as I watch this play out. And I got to be for real with y'all. Because I mean, it was riveting to me. And I ain't even got to my review of the reunion. I ain't even got to what I'm gonna rate this episode. So the fact that I ain't there yet tells you how good I think it's going, how good my rating's gonna be. So the woman in the middle then decides that she's gonna go down the list of people who she wants to thank for her support that have soldiered for her. Because you know you got to be soldiers for Christ around here, baby. You got if you ain't a super soldier, if you ain't took that super soldier serum, okay, then I don't know. Then you got a problem with Karen, and Karen got a problem with you, and we're gonna get into it. The first person that she thinks is, oh, big sister almighty, Jazelle. My God, thank you so much. You're right, Jazelle. It's one step at a time, my sister, my soulmate, my sister, my soulmate, my sister. And I'm like, girl, since when? Since when? Like, I know y'all started this thing together. And I know that y'all the best of frenemies, but girl, I was like, okay. And that brought a tear out of Jazelle. And see, let me tell you something why this works. Because again, we have got to humanize Jazelle. Okay. There has been great work done to humanize Jazelle. And I think it was necessary work because when we see a housewife, we want to see all sides of the person. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna bring this back again, like I said, to her with Karen. And this is something very, very interesting. And some of you are gonna disagree with me, and I totally understand why. But let me continue. Then she goes on to say, and Kay, I just want to, your words. And Jazzy, who is not even present on the stage at the moment, okay, even gets a shout out. Oh, but there's one more person that I really need to thank. Oh, oops. It was so diabolical. She knew, and they knew. And the camera is pointed. I mean, there is a square of Wendy's face right as she says, and oh, there's one more person. As she coyly looks around, Andy Cohen. Andy is gooped. Andy is gagged. Andy is like, me? What you thinking me for, girl? I said, that is some wild work right there. To go out of her way in her statement of who she is at this current moment, where she is going, in this moment of ultimate vulnerability, this woman still manages to lift up her chin, okay? Look dead into the camera and glaze over Dr. Wendy, who has, to Wendy's credit and doggone misfortune at this point, soldiered for Christ like nobody else, okay? Dr. Wendy was the leader of the Campus Crusade for Christ. Dr. Wendy was the leader of the Cheering for Karen committee. Dr. Wendy was the general of the Karen's militia of people. Okay, if there was a pastor, it was Dr. Wendy. Okay, and if there was a congregation, it was everybody else. And Dr. Wendy was leading that way and holding that torch for Karen so hard. She didn't wore herself down into the ground for this woman. And Karen completely dismisses her as if she never existed. I said, oh, that is some, that it, I don't know if y'all done read my books, and I don't mean I ain't trying to like I won't even planning on trying to make that a plug. But y'all listen, I couldn't I ain't even write nothing like that. Now that was some stuff right there that you would see in a book. That was some what oh, snap. Like it's one thing for y'all to be at a point where y'all are having like beef. Also, I forgot Candace ain't even on the show. Candace is now the new head cheerleader of the Campus Crusade for Karen. Okay, because Karen mentions it that Candace has soldiered for her. Soldier. I'm a soldier. Okay, somebody that'll stand up for me. I don't care if you know what I mean. Okay, that's who Candace now is. And Dr. Wendy is no more. Baby, let me tell you something. I said, now that is some baby, that's some wild work. So anyway, not to belabor that point, bringing us back home to the three women that you see on the scene. I forgot about the fourth woman who is now in photograph, okay, being passed around the reunion because Ashley then thought Ashley, finally, Ashley in this moment proved her usefulness, okay, by bringing this photograph of Karen in white. I might add, because she had a feeling that Karen would not be at the reunion. Smart, astute, okay. Dr. Wendy and Kay try calling Karen at the beginning of the reunion. Karen sends that thing right on the voicemail. Now, if Karen was in the center for whatever recovery, I'm sure she might not have access to the phones. I don't really know how it works. I've never been inside one, so I can't really say. I do have a friend that no, I have two friends that have worked for institutions like that, but they are very cagey about what they can tell or what they've ever said. So I really don't know, but I would assume that maybe regular access to the phone isn't going to be something that they have. And even if she did, based on what she said and didn't say in that by the lady in the middle, I don't think she would have answered Wendy's call anyway. So I want to bring this around back to Karen real quick because she was such a big part of the reunion, whether you like it or not. The three women that you see here in my mind, as my boo said earlier, not a beneficial prop. Yep, a benefit. Exactly. So the three women here represent three different sides of a person in life in general, I would say. And it's interesting. It's an interesting deconstruction of a reality TV personality, because I think what it also shows is that life is messy. And the woman in the middle is a woman who is trying to put her best foot forward and retain some semblance of of that, of that grand dame image. But I note that she says that I will be returning as just Karen, right? So will that mean a grounded Karen? Because we've seen the messy Karen, the person that was arrested, and that's a person at their lowest. And everybody has a low moment in life. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that you give her whatever grace you feel like you need to give her, because at the end of the day, she got to live with whatever happened, and she obviously is dealing with that. But it is full circle. These are three different stages of a person, and rarely do you get to see this level of these many sides to a person. And one of the only other people I can think of that we've seen like this, I would say, is probably Luann from The Real Housewives of New York City. And I just feel like this is going to be a very interesting thing to see what she does when she comes back, and how she maneuvers throughout the group. And will she really not have that sort of grand dame-ness to her? What will we see from her? I'm interested. I'm very interested. And in the spirit of Karen being present at the reunion, I'm gonna leave her on screen because she was there throughout. Let's read the episode description real quick. It's part one of the reunion. The ladies learn that the grand dame will not be in attendance. Wendy expresses her disappointment with Karen's lack of accountability. Ashley, Mia, and Stacey discuss their divorces, and Jazzy and Stacey confront Mia about her behavior in Miami. If I had to rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably have to give it a 20. Yeah. Yeah. I would actually say start filming now for season 10, because where we are today is very, very interesting. It is this actually felt like this felt like a different show to me. This felt like a very different show with the women, dare I say it, I felt like stepping up into much more interesting roles, in terms of what they were, and how they positioned themselves and their stances on things. And I think leading the pack on this was Dr. Wendy. Dr. Wendy to me was the MVP of the episode. I don't know what you guys will rate it. Please let me know in the I mean, she does. It is so interesting that now that you say that, Wendy catching direct shots and strays every season will forever boggle me. It's so interesting, but it's also interesting to me how she carries herself through it all. Dr. Wendy does not ever seem to me to come out of her character. Like, she does not, you will not take her out of her character. She's had things thrown at her. She's had drinks thrown at her. Literally everything under the sun has come at this woman. And the woman is literally just like Teflon. Like, what else you got? Because I'm going to accurately and articulate exactly what I feel, what I think, what I see, and what you, and I'm gonna confidently do it too. I'm not gonna shrink down to nobody. Okay. And I like that. I like that Stacey was starting to stand on business. Okay. I need Stacey to stand on business with Jazelle though, because I feel like Jazelle, to me, I feel like what Jazelle is doing to Stacey is what some of the Married to Medicine ladies are doing to Phaedra. And I feel like what we see happening is Jazelle is poking Stacey to get some type of reaction from her. And I think that if she keeps poking, she's going to get a reaction. And I think she's not going to like it. And I have to say that. I like this new Jazelle. This new Jazelle is much more interesting. This new Jazelle feels like she's having fun. But I feel like she's having a little bit too much fun with Stacey. And I feel like Stacey at some point is going to, I think she's from Detroit, and I think that Detroit might come up out of her at some point or another. Okay? I'm going to leave it there. I have predicted quite a few things about this show, and I feel like this is yet another one that we all can see coming. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist. I don't think I'm anything special. I just think I'm an observer, and I can see patterns as well as you. And I think you all see it, we all see it, and you all know it's coming. So I don't know. But I also feel like Jazelle maybe thinks that Stacey is a bit more complicated than she lets on, which I also believe. But I also don't believe that you have to poke at someone in order to allow that to show. The camera will at some point show that, as we shall see with the whole TJ situation. So Jazelle, while you're doing all that work with Stacey, you would be better served just simply observing. Because at the end of the day, whatever the situation with TJ is about to come up from Eddie. So, girl, you ain't got to do all this extra work. Now, back to Wendy. Wendy having the recognition that Karen is not her friend. Baby, let me tell you something. I love that Wendy also says, I'm not going to conflate my feelings about what Karen is doing with what she is going through. I thought that required a distinct amount of emotional intelligence that I feel like a lot of people would not have been able to um really articulate all that well, because it was a punch to the face to me what Karen did to her. And I do feel like it's odd. Could we say that Wendy is self-centered? We could say that, yeah. But I think when you say it in the way that it was probably communicated to Stacey, then I think that there is some like, okay. And I also feel like Wendy telling Stacey that, well, girl, she also, kind of has some things to say about you too, to watch out for you, because she's really smart and she's really educated. And even when she says that, and Jazelle's like, she's smart and educated, what? Like, questioning the woman's intelligence and her education as someone who has gone to an HBCU, somebody who is in a sorority. I just personally feel like that's also some crazy work right there too, because when we talk about like Black people in education and stuff like that, it has always been an interesting topic. So I just kind of felt like to question the girl, like, you might question whether or not she plays naive, but to question her intelligence and whether or not she's educated, I just felt like that's like, all right, you're reaching and your arms are too short right now. And again, I think that Stacey does play the delicate flower at times. I do think that she plays that. But I think that she's also new to this. So you got to give her some time to make her own mistakes. And she will. She will. But sometimes you got to let the flower blossom on its own. And you trying to yank out the weeds, girl, it's too much. It's too much. And it's transparent. That's the other thing. It was like she was working overtime to expose Stacey and to make Stacey seem crazy and to get a reaction out of Stacey. But she also makes it seem as though Stacey is trying to get in on the the type of business that Eddie is into as well, with the Happy Eddie. And to that I say, now I don't know about that. Now I don't, for some reason there was a little something that in what Jazelle was saying that I believed. And I don't know why, but there was something in it that I believed. So Stacey, I don't know if you is or is you ain't, but I do know that Wendy asked you right to your face, is you is, and you said is I ain't. And so that better be the case. Because if you is, then it's on record that you said you is not. Okay. So I don't know what Jazelle knows. I don't know what Jazelle knows, but I feel like she knows something. And this is also true. Here's the thing. What I feel like they do differently is, I feel like Karen, I could be wrong. Let me put the alleged badge up here, but they say Jazelle says that what Karen likes to do is get in secretly with the new girls and take them down to the Tally Ho, and then order them some breakfast, some hot cakes and some spam or whatever they serve. I don't know what they serve there, but I will go to Tally Ho and I will report back to you when I get back to Maryland. When I get back to Maryland, if anybody wants to do an investigative, go out to eat with me. I'm gonna make a reservation for 3 down at the Tally Ho, and we're gonna scope out the scene and test the food and see what's going on at the Tally Ho. If you're with me, holla in the chat, okay? And I will make a reservation for 3. Okay, Ashley, you coming? Okay, you coming? Just let me know, and we'll go undercover. We're gonna go in disguise. So bring a wig, okay? Nobody will know it's us. So now, where was I? Oh, so Karen, I think she does take the girls to the Tally Ho or whatever, and she does like to be the mother figure, and I think she does like to sort of position them to sort of be, a super soldier for Christ. Excuse me, a super soldier for Karen. And so I feel like what Jazelle does is the new girls come in and she hazes them. Oh, you don't have a home? No, I got 4 of them. Blink. Gagged. Okay, gagged. Oh, 4 homes. Ew. Girl, I didn't ask you for all that. Anyway, so I feel like, yeah, I feel like they do 2 different things. I feel like Karen recruits and Jazelle hazes. 2 sides of a different coin. Okay. Next. So I do feel like that it does happen on both ends. And I feel like sometimes Ashley, to her to her discredit, is always, kind of behind Jazelle, like, yep, 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 yep. And what I don't want for Ashley to do is turn into a Robin, because I feel like that's what's coming. Do y'all feel like that too? And to be quite fair to Ashley, I feel like if Ashley is going to be the messy person, be messy around the board, be messy around the globe. Don't just contain your mess to the girls on the other couch. Okay, you need to take the mess to your friends too. If you really want to be this messy, if you really want to take that role, and you want to be the bone collector, you want to be the person that's asking, everybody all up in their business. You got to do it with everybody, including your bestie. Okay. We cannot have another Robin and Jazelle situation. And the reason I say that is because even if you look at Wendy and Wendy tells Kiana, okay, you're my girl. Okay. But I see what Karen is doing with you. I see it. And I think you need to see it too. That's it. Okay. And that's it. So we do see a little bit of the conversation. We do hear Wendy and Jazelle talk about their conversation. I don't have much to say about that because I do feel like it was glossed over then, it was glossed over now. We did not get to see that conversation between Wendy and Karen that happened at the end of the season that they happened to cut out of the episode. So we really don't know what happened with them, and where they left off, and why. And maybe that was why Karen didn't have much to say to Wendy. So we just kind of are left with that. So I also feel like, so then they bring Jazzy out. It's very early in the game. They bring out Jazzy. Jazzy's dress looked much better in person in 3D. Not like I was there, but I'm saying in 3D than it did. But it still gave me Maleficent vibes. But it did look better in person. But what I will say is also this. I feel like sometimes Jazzy needs to relax. Sometimes I feel like she gives very pageant-like answers to things, and maybe that's part of her background, which I don't really know. So I feel like if she relaxes her shoulders a bit, that she has the lifestyle and she has the story. But I feel like she's so put together, so like pulled up that it's like, girl, like, okay, just be. And I think when she is just being, as you see, when the stuff comes out with Mia, that to me is a much more interesting Jazzy than sort of the way she sort of tries to describe away her relationship and the way it was sort of. Listen, girl, I don't really honestly care about how you got with him. You're with him now at this point, and that's where I'm at with it because I didn't know you before. So to me, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's all right. Well, all right, girl. Okay. I mean, listen, here we are, tally ho. So, she passes out her wedding invitations and whatnot, and the thing looks fancy. And I'm like, y'all better, bravo, you better be recording that. So that better be season finale. That depends on when y'all can start this season. That's also likely going to depend on what happened with Karen, as we will find out in about a week, maybe next week. So anyway, I'm saving Mia for last, child. Because listen, whenever Mia opened her mouth, somebody was like, liar, liar, shut up, liar, liar, liar. It was like they should have gave Mia, they probably should have gave you the last chair. Because as soon as Mia opened her mouth, them girls was like, nope, not today. Wrong, liar. You're lying. Oop, lying, lies. They did, girl. I don't even think she could form a complete sentence before these girls had told her everything that they had been feeling about her all season long. Everything that they've been feeling, everything that some of the fans have been feeling. And I did feel a little bit bad for her because I was like, ooh, like Mia, come on now. Especially when Miami comes up. We're going to talk about Miami. You want to talk about Miami? You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. Well, let's talk about it. Tell me what happened because I want to know now. I want to know what happened down to the Miami. Okay? So apparently Mia has a birthday extravaganza and it said like the last 40. So I was like, the last 40? What does that mean? But maybe it was like the last 40th birthday party or something like that. Maybe she was like celebrating like around the world. You know how some people like y'all know them people. Now I love them because I got some friends like this, but you know, and I love you. I do. But you know, some people like to celebrate a birthday for a very long time, Dr. Wendy. So maybe she was having a Dr. Wendy style birthday party that lasts for a year. So I was like, okay, we see the text messages, you know, hey, she only invites Stacey and Jassi to the Miami to her birthday fete, the birthday fete. So apparently there was going to be a yacht day, which I felt like I saw on the ground. There was going to be a yacht day, and then there was going to be the dinner at Barton G. Have you ever been to Barton G? If you've never been to Barton G, you need to go to Barton G. It's a very elevated but very expensive place. Okay, I'm going to tell you that now. So it is very surprising to me that she was late for her birthday party at the Barton G because typically they are very, 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 very timely about the party being there at a specific time. I know that from personal experience. But so again, it's very interesting. But it's your birthday. You can show up late if you want to. I guess. So the tea is Stacey and Jassi are going to fly down to Miami from the Potomac. They're going to fly on down, boot scoot and boogie. Ladies, leave your kids at home and then meet up with Mia. Now, they think, Stacey and Jassi think, well, I don't know where Jassi, I don't know if she got there at the same time as Stacey or whatnot, or if she said, girl, if she ain't there, I ain't there. But I know that Stacey arrived at that restaurante at 8 p.m. and Mia was not there. Wendy said it won't till 11. Mia said it was an hour later. Now, I don't know how long it was. All I know is that Stacey is texting Mia the entire time. Hey, babes, I'm in Miami. I don't think she got a response. Hey, babes, I'm at the restaurant. Hey, babes, there's no one here at the restaurant. Hey, babes, where are you? Babes. Babes? Babes? Am I blocked? Babes. Babes. Then she gets a message after midnight. Hey, girl, where you at? Girl, I'm at home. Okay, girl, I had flown back to Potomac in the time that it took you to respond to your message. And even if you got there even if it was ladies, leave your kids at home and the pockets and the club is jump in. Why didn't you text me and at least say, girl, I'm on my way? You could have said something. You could have had, girl, why didn't your POC have your phone then? Okay. Hand over your phone to your POC and your POC is in charge of the girls. But if you had a POC for the thing and she didn't have their number, how was she supposed to contact the POC? And Stacey, poor thing, don't even know what a POC is. She's like, is that a probation officer? No, ma'am. Maybe that's why Jazelle said she was uneducated. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, babe. I'm trying to figure it out. I really am. You know, here I am. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to do some work. I'm trying to figure out who these three women on the screen is at times. So I'm still trying to figure it out too, Stacey. So anyway, the POC, whoever that person was, is not responding to Stacey and neither is Mia. So Stacey is hot, okay? Stacey is so hot. Stacey is boiling. Stacey is more boiling at Mia than she is at Jazelle for calling her an uneducated and literally basically calling her stupid. You more mad at me? Like, I get it, girl. If you waste my time, if I fly down to Miami for you and you stand me up at your own birthday party, I will never speak to you again. So I do agree. Be mad. But girl, she called you uneducated. So Mia is like, at one point when the message thread ends, she's like, I guess Stacey says, see you soon, after she told her how disappointed she was and how disrespectful it was to stand her up. Mia's like, well, see, look, everything worked out. So, Mia, what? I listen. I it to me, I get it. It's your birthday. You might be toasted, wasted, busted, disgusted, can't be trusted. You know, it's your birthday. But then when they say that Jacqueline says to them that Mia was more concerned with ink than she was with anything else, that's Jacqueline saying that. That's your BFF saying that. So if your BFF is saying to your other friends that you've invited that you stood up that you are more concerned about your boy toy than you were with them, then it has a different layer of realness to it because that's your BFF saying that. So I don't know what they were supposed to be left with. And I don't know that they're supposed to be moved by tears at this point. Now, listen, do I think that Mia was genuinely crying at that point? I do think she was genuinely crying. But I also think that I would, because Dr. Wendy was on 10, okay? Not on 10 as in terms of like doing too much, but she was just on it last night. And she says it, I think the thing that I respect about Dr. Wendy so much is that because I feel like I still see her comment. Her and Mia comment on each other's posts. I think that Dr. Wendy is the type of person that is just able to say, listen, even as a friend, girl, like you have got to stop when you're backed into a corner, you start crying and granted, those could be her genuine emotions. I'm not going to take that away from her, but the crying does not negate what you did. And your crying feels more of a response to being called out about it than it does the actual action that you feel remorseful for. That's the difference that Wendy is able to call out, because that's what I think it is. I think I'm embarrassed. They're calling me out. It feels like they're ganging up on me. Valid feelings to cry for. But I think the tears would be better. They would feel better to the person that is offended if it felt like you were crying because you were genuinely remorseful for what you did to me. That is, I think, the key difference there. And I think that is what Wendy is really pointing out to Mia. And so when Mia leaves the stage as they have a break and she tries to go talk to Stacey and Jazzy, Stacey also accurately tells her, why didn't you why did you do that to us? It doesn't really make any sense to me. And so Mia is like, well, I just don't have the capacity to be a good friend then at this moment. And while I think that may be true, I also feel that what Stacey was saying to her was also valid. Girl, I wasted my money. I took a flight. I probably had to get a hotel room. I probably had to get a sitter. Like, that's my time that I can't get back. Like, that is not cool. And I feel like you're only now doing this. You didn't call me. You sent me a text message trying to explain yourself. No, girl, that's a phone call. And that's real life. Like, as much as, yes, we do live in 2025 and people text things, we all know as adults, especially now, I think for the people that are watching this, I know y'all know, certain conversations require a conversation. Like, when you apologize for something like that, you got to apologize like you mean it. Like, call me, girl, take me to lunch. Let me see, like, I got to see your face and I got to hear it in your voice. And don't wait to do it until you're on camera. Because now I feel like you're only apologizing to me because you have been called out by everybody, and now you feel bad for being called out. But you didn't feel bad. But do you feel bad for what you did to me? That's where Stacey is. And she basically tells her, I can't receive your apology right now. We're not receiving it. Back to return to sender. And Mia is devastated at that moment. And she walks out. And she says, I'm leaving, but I don't think that she's actually leaving until the next episode. I don't know. And whether or not she actually leaves the reunion for good, I don't know that. Houston Love says, I love Dr. Wendy last night. I was only lost because what Karen said about Wendy honestly was not bad or false. Miss 4 Degrees and 10 birthday parties is self-absorbed. She is not coming off like a girl's girl. First of all, Houston Love, thank you so much for that super chat. I really do appreciate it. Y'all, super chats mean the world to me because this is like, you don't have to do it. And I just appreciate that you do. I actually just appreciate that y'all are actually even here watching me. I am not the type of person that feels like it always, like, to me, every time I have a live, I'm still in awe that we are having the conversation together. So I just want to say thank you for that. But I do feel like Wendy is a girl's girl because I feel like Wendy is able to accurately be a real friend. Wendy, to me, is the type of friend that you actually really probably want, somebody that's going to tell you the truth. But you got to know what type of friend you need in that moment, right? Wendy's going to be the type of friend that tells you the truth. And I think that does make her a girl's girl. Do I think that Wendy is self-absorbed? I do think she is self-absorbed. But I have a ton of friends that I think are self-absorbed. I can be self-absorbed. But to me, being self-absorbed is different from being selfish, right? You could be a self-absorbed person, and that just means that a lot of times you might be in your own little world. A lot of creatives are like that, right? And I think that what we see is Wendy is tapping a lot more into her creative aspects of her life. Not to mention, she is a very confident woman, which I think also works well for her being a housewife because it allows her to throw some elevated shade. At times, I think when it doesn't come across to me as too much. I think she has found her sweet spot. But I think in seasons prior to, it was a little bit shakier for me, just personally. But I feel like she has landed in this very, very sweet spot of, just a powerful woman who doesn't have to always wear it. It just is. It just is. And I like seeing that. I think that this show needs that. I think that what she brings to the show is very different and unique. And she's always bringing something. And it's not always messy. It's sometimes it may veer in the mess, but it's not. I don't feel like she's purposely poking and prodding and doing little things. She just to me comes across as more authentic in her reactions to things than I think some other people. But at times I didn't feel like that in the beginning, but I feel like now she's settled. Yeah, like just tuned into who she is. And I think that's what we're seeing in this moment. That's just me. That's just me. And I think that is possibly what is missing with Mia. I don't think, as I just recognized that, I don't think Mia has truly understood who she can be in this space. Because I think that there is a space for her. Even as I watch this, I feel as though if she learned that she doesn't have to do all of these things, I think that there is someone that the audience could root for. But until she lets go of some of the miscommunications and misinterpretations of situations, it's where everybody's going to be confused and people are not going to believe her, and it's going to be very, very difficult for her. in this group if it continues down that path. But that's just me. So anyway, that's my recap of the Real Housewives of Potomac season 9 reunion episode 1. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, you know, when we do these recaps, I don't do this to tear anybody down. This is supposed to be fun and a good way for us to just like get out our feelings about the show, because at the end of the day, it is still a show. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I appreciate you. I agree with your takes and enjoy your energy. I appreciate that. I enjoyed the episode. To me, it gave 20 out of 10. And I felt like I don't have many notes in terms of like what they could have done better, because I felt like they gave, and the editors gave, everybody gave. And I also felt like they were on some level having fun. Like it felt fun to me. Yeah. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Make sure you guys comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and I will catch you in the next